a blast from the past. Alright, well, everybody died. Welcome back, fellow dungeon dwellers. Today I would like to go over a mechanic with 3 individual builds that lean into the aspect of the game. All 3 builds are usable in honor mode solo. So the point here is to build around honor mode solo a working character that is independent from other actions of companions and other drivers to enable damage. So let's jump right in. So isn't it looking funny what you see here on the back? These weird looking weapons. I can zoom in a little bit more. You may not use them or have ever used them in the game, but I want to give a shout out to Saul in the BG3 wiki Discord, who discovered actually that these branches have a secondary conditional called Magic Club. And Magic Club says, in the Woodwood's hand, this common branch becomes magical and deals 3 to 12 bludgeoning damage. So I just want to point out here that this particular weapon, the Twisting Branch, comes from the Woodwood that a druid is summoning on level 7 through the Dryad, who can then summon the Woodwood. And once you have the Woodwood, you can basically pull off the weapon from the Woodwood, place it in your inventory, and use it. So it is sort of like a mechanic that you have seen with other summons before, that you can basically take off their weapons. It is, I would say, borderline exploity, but it's still usable to a certain extent. And what these 2 Twisting Branches do with their individual secondary condition here, this is what we're going to see here in a second. So I have started to create a build which is a Paladin 8, Warlock 1, Rogue 6. So the Warlock here in this case is a Hexblade. I'm using the mod, the Hexblade mod. It's just very important to me to test it, but all you want to do is, and I just do this for the sake of fun here, run a charisma based build. A level 3 rogue, this is the assassin, and then a Paladin 8 to get an additional aura. I wanted to play like an Oathbreaker to get like the Aura of Hate. I don't have it right now, but let's just see what this build does. So I'm going to hit this person here. I am not using this.
You were witnessed assaulting
Yes,
someone.
we're attacking here. Everybody's surprised, which is very good. I'm going to pull up the combat log. Oh, and you can already see something happening here. So I'm not going to kill her, so I don't do anything. Oh, I actually just killed her. Okay, never mind. This is all good. So we just killed her. Just disregard that I didn't want to do that, but she's nevertheless dead. Let's fly to our main damage maker. And the reason why I'm going to select this buddy down here is because he is very, very well armed. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this off first. I'm going to hit him once. I'm going to select critical hit. I'm going to select a level 2 smite, and I'm going to hit him again. And boom, we just did 180 damage with 1 hit. Second attack, using my offhand, hitting again, missing, never mind. Hit again, smite, boom. 261 damage. I am going to fly away. Or not. Maybe I'm just going to take the damage and going to stand strong, stand proud. So, nevertheless, let me just go out here a little bit so it's not as loud. Nevertheless, what I wanted to show you is game mechanic-wise is the following, what's happening here. So with these 2 clubs, actually, they proc on each other. So in this example here, where we forced on the Steel Watcher a critical hit, we are making the base damage. We're doing the base damage of 19 on the roll with the Dollar Amaris on top and the reroll. 2 from my ring, from the Color Glow ring, and here it starts. 1 club with 24 bludgeoning damage, also with a dollar Mars, uses as a rider the ring, procs the other club, does another 27 bludgeoning damage, uses the ring again, then uses basically our Crater Flesh gloves that then use the ring again. So we see the ring being utilized 4 times. Now I'm going to crit on a 68, which is my level 2 smite only, which yet again does the same mechanic. It uses as a damage rider the club, then it does like a 2 from the ring, 23 from the club again, and all over again. So you see I'm actually inflicting 4d6 on force damage. I'm using the ring I don't know how many times. I'm using another 23, so this is 46, 80, something in 100 extra damage just by damage riders proccing themselves. And I just want to point out, we're in honor mode here, so this should technically not work, because the DRS and DR mechanics in honor mode in comparison to tactician got removed. But what's happening here is these clubs basically proc on each other. So, and because we're assassin in the beginning, I actually didn't surprise them because I pulled this person in, but you can imagine with an assassin and this being one hit, you can do this 3 times, basically. And potentially, if you're having a little bit more nuanced version with a rogue, with a ranger, and with a warlock level 5, you can get even an extra hit in the first round. Plus, if you use Grand Rep Master, you can get a 5th hit. So you can get around 500, maybe a little more if you use a smite, 600 damage, I would say, per round with this particular build here. Now, there are a couple of other versions of the build that I'm going to show you next, and then we can dive into the rest mechanics. Alright, let's look at the second build here. So now we have a Paladin 2 Rogue, in this case Assassin 4 and Swords Bard 6. So this is a little bit more the spell-centric version of it. Kind of like a little bit like the Bardardine as you're familiar with. I just moved 4 levels into Rogue, in this case Assassin, yet again to get the criticals guaranteed. And this actually pairs pretty nicely. What we can do here is we could technically remove the Diadem of Arcane Synergy and switch it out with a Helm of Arcane Acuity to basically get the stack built up for Arcane Acuity to cast on a bonus action with the Ring of Mystic Scrondel, our hold person, in the second round. I'm not going to do that here, I just want to show you the game mechanic, that it's pretty much the same. So what we are going to do is, maybe this time I have a little bit more luck. I'm going to hit first. No.
Witnessed assaulting someone.
I want to attack. Everybody's surprised. Let's see, yeah, this time this guy is in here, so I'm not going to do anything. So everybody's not surprised. I guess there's something wrong up here. But let's assume everybody would be surprised. So we're just gonna sit this out here for a second and look at the log again. People do some funny damage here. Critical hit saved. 2 damage. What's he going to do? Elemental. Dash. Alright, can we move? We can move. Okay, so the first thing I want to show is the mighty attack with a flourish if they are uniquely positioned. Let's see, 2 enemies at once. Here we go. Alright, I'm missing the second one, but I want to hit the Steel Watcher. I could have also smited the second one if I wanted to. You'll get the intent. So you can see here at the log, again, I'm proccing all these individual damage drivers. I unfortunately didn't crit this time. So this is what makes this a little harder. There's a a mage down there who is very likely going to counterspell my individual spell. So what I'm going to do, let's see, I'm just going to do the same thing one more time in hopes I can show you that a little bit better. This time, critical hit, great. So we're going to smite once. We're going to smite again. Alright, here we go. This is exactly what I wanted to show. So, let's go up to the critical hit. Steel Watcher critical hit. How much damage did we do? We did 33 plus 2, 35. Plus 24. 60. I'm pretty bad at math right now. 60 plus 25. I'm just going to edit rounded numbers here. Are 85, 90, 100, 105, 107. 107 damage on the Steel Watcher, and this was the second hit, basically, after the crits went through. 105 we said, so there's 140, 160, 170, 180, 190, 4 plus 6, 200, so something like 200 something damage we just did here on this Steel Watcher for him to explode, and I still have actually an attack left, so what we're gonna do is we're just gonna fly away, and we're gonna fly down here to this little mage, because we don't like mages, and then we're going to use our offhand and just kill that mage too. So you get the mechanic too. What's going to happen is here I'm building an arcane synergy stack, so the arcane synergy is getting rolled into my main attack, obviously. If I crit, we saw this before, the Dollar Amaros is getting rolled into the proc offhand and main hand, basically. So remember the Magic Club is proccing on each other, so you get the roll twice, essentially. So essentially these weapons are a 4d4 and not a 1d4, so it's a little tricky. But you get the idea, and what I could do now, if I would have, in this case, my helmet on, let's say my helmet of Arcane Synergy, I could on a bonus action just select hold person and hold this entire area here, fly up, hit again, do the same thing that happens over here, proc a gazillion times my twisting branches and hit like a truck. Secondly, what I also could do is, and this is going to be the next mechanic I'm going to show you, I can switch off melee combat and go into spell combat. So we're going to look at this next. Alright, we want to look at the third variant here. The third variant is a little different. So the third variant is focusing more on damage blockage and specifically tanking. It's another way to basically run this build. It is a little slower in damage making, but it makes up for your being pretty much unhittable. So what we're going to do here is we have a Cleric 2, which is a Tempest Cleric. We have a Wizard 8, which is an Abjuration Wizard, and we have a Warlock 2, which is in this case a Great Old One. So I didn't go with a Hexblade here, I went with a Great Old One. And all I want to do is first, before I go into combat, build up my Arcane Ward, which is basically blocking the damage of my character. And what I'm going to do is, I am equipping first a armored item, which will block the usage of my Armor of Shadows, which is a free abjuration spell that you'll get through an invocation of your Warlock. So we want to unequip that, and you see how it becomes available. I'm going to cast that, now it's used. I'm going to equip a piece of heavy equipment, it goes away, and then it comes back, because I equipped that piece of equipment. Heavy armor in this case, or medium armor. So I'm going to repeat this over and over again. And so every time I'm casting a free abjuration spell, which builds this stack here, the Arcane Ward, which is basically blocking the damage I want. So there's an entire build around this with the Armor of Agathis In this case, what I'm going to do is building up the stack, equipping my equipment, using an Armor of Agathis that does a lot of damage. So now if I get hit, basically everybody takes 25 cold damage. I am going to rock down here and we're going to kick off this fight here yet again. But this time I want you to focus a little bit on something different. This time we are not hitting with our... Let's go for the mage first. We are not hitting with our damage of our main weapon, we are going to hit with our Eldrich Blast. And in this case, the Eldrich Blast, let's open up our log here. The Eldrich Blast has like a similar mechanic. So we want to pick Charisma, 95%. I completely forgot something. This becomes important in a little bit. We are going to kick this fight off. 1, 2, 3. Nope. Critical hit in this case. Oh, he's so dead. 2 critical hits.
Murdered someone.
I murdered someone. Yes, I want to attack you. Alright, let's see. So what are they gonna do? Jumping over here. Oh, runs away. 1, 2. Boom, boom. So, by the way, this is the spell forward version what we are seeing here. So, you still hit like a truck. And you're wondering, currently, why is nobody attacking me? What's happening here? Besides this lady over here. Just trying to ensnare me. Nope, didn't do it. Up, and you already saw the damage blocked off. So let me just explain very quick the Abjuration Wizard here, what's happening. So you see a stack went down from 16 to 15 because the damage got blocked. Over here you can see this. So I blocked off with resistance from a damage roll of 14, 7, Heavy Armor Master, which is the feat 3, 2 Magical Plate, and then, which is the armor I'm wearing, and then minus 16 of the ward. So next time I'm blocking 15 damage on the same condition. So as long as nobody can reach that damage, nobody's attacking me, besides ranged characters or any type of wizards. That's why we went for the wizard first here. Alright, now, we were talking about our pair of weapons here, the Twisting Branches. Remember the Magic Club? Conditional that procs on each other. So, if we are... Oh, we don't have an attack, so let me just showcase this here. If we attack, and we have our Daredevil gloves on, which gives us Daredevil proximity, your ranged spell attacks are made as melee spell attacks, blah blah blah. Which is the case currently. You can see it's activated here. I am going to select my Eldrich Blast, and well, we're just selecting the main guy here because he does the we can demonstrate it the best way. 1, 2, 3. Boom, boom, boom. All right. So let's go up here into our combat log. We see we hit this Steel Watcher with 1 Eldrich Blast 3 times, 14 force to my ring, and now yet again you see that the Magic Club is proccing on it. So in this case we rolled on a critical a 9, not too good. Actually it's 17 damage, my bad. 2 of the ring, force damage 5, which is antagonizing blast. This is the first round. Yet again we are proccing the ability from our 2 Twisting Branches, 15 bludgeoning damage, 2, 5, and then another ray, 18 to 13, and so forth. You see, this is going over and over and over again, and we just, I think he was full. We did 200 damage in one blast. One blast. I did not drink a portion of Bloodlust, which could give me a second attack. I'll just use like a speed potion here to demonstrate this. But you get the point. You can do this over and over again with a blaster build and achieve yet again massive damage outputs. There's a fine line between building something that is very defensive, as you have seen I've done here. Nobody's attacking me, so I can just sit there and blast enemies step by step, or you're using the potent robe, which basically replaces your armor class here massively. You get a little bit of damage boost. Those type of things are worth to try out. I can also recommend to, and maybe, oh, you actually just saw how the Armor of Aethys procced here because he hit me, so this is like another nice mechanic of this build. If I just fly over here, everybody goes in combat, I move, they need to hit me. Please hit me. There we go. You see how they take damage because of the Armor of Aethys, and I haven't taken a piece of damage. You can see this up here because the damage is just getting blocked off. So you have secondary damage sources here that help you basically to be really, really strong. Bottom line is, if you find a way basically to enforce vulnerability, because this is a non-vulnerability build, for example with freezing these enemies here, which would give you vulnerability to, you can guess, force damage and bludgeoning, you can make massive, massive damage. It is really hard to do that in a solo run. It's probably more geared towards a party run, where it's very easy, let's say in a duo, to freeze an enemy and then this build comes in and just blasts them away. But yeah, I was trying to be very focused here on a solo build that where you can beat auto mode very, very easily with standard items. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this build. I'm not going to show you immediately a way where you can get these twisted branches, but I'm going to repeat it so you can try it out yourself. So what you would need to do is you would need to get a druid level 7. The druid level 7 is summoning a woodbeing, which in this case is the dryad. The dryad then is summoning her wood lover, or however the spell is called, using or casting, I should say, summoning the woodwards, and then you pull this branch off of the woodwards, and you need to do it twice to dual wield. Yeah, but this is it, and we can go now into the build guide, and we can go over some items next. Alrighty folks, let's talk a little bit about items, what items are good for what build combination. Please disregard the modded look here, also the modded look of this armor. This is the Armor of Persistence, so these are standard items. I just used like a nice looking mod where I kind of like the armor. But point being is, so we have seen 3 different variations. A couple of things I just want to highlight here for you to know. Check out the diadem of Arcane Synergy, very nice for the more advanced builds on melee. It gives you just more damage overall, and especially since you have Assassin baked in, you want to double that damage within your crits very early on. And since your actions are getting restored as an assassin, you will start basically with this particular condition. Very, very nice. I usually use the cloak that gives you 8 temporary hit points in case you do a spell, so especially with the Bard version, this is very nice. You basically get continuously 8 temporary hit points. Think about when you select Heavy Armor Master and you reduct 3 damage points. Here you get 8 on top, so it's kind of like a little better than Heavy Armor Master, I would say, in some instances. But very nice cloak. You can use other cloaks too, Cloak of the Weave and whatever is out there. It's really up to you. Since you are having here a Warlock, which is the Hexblade, so remember I'm using the Hexblade mod, everything is ran through Charisma. I haven't not activated this yet, let me just do this very quick. So everything is ran through Charisma. Damage wise, it's important to have high Charisma, so baseline. On the items themselves, I mentioned this several times before, that they come from the Woodwoods that you can basically summon as a level 7 druid. It would require either that you're a druid and that you respec, or you have like a hireling who's a druid, or you just get a companion into the party for like a hot minute to basically summon those. Then, since you're assassin, create a fresh gloves are a must, I would say, to boost your AC a little bit. I'm using the evasive shoes. You can really wear any pair of shoes, whatever you like. And then to have advantage on Constitution saving throws and high health. In this case, I'm using the Amulet of Greater Health. I mean, look at this in Honor Mode 144. That's pretty bananas. And then really you can do whatever you want in combination. So this ring here doesn't really make sense. You could alternatively use a ring basically that does give you some advantage on hitting because you really just want to hit and you just want to smite the heck out of enemies. So that's really what it comes down to. You can also mix this up a little bit, the leveling combination. So you could basically run an Assassin 3, a Gloomstalker 4 to get the extra upfront attack, and then a Warlock 5, and then you have with a packed weapon the secondary attack. That's possible too. In the second build we have seen, which was a little bit more forward with a Bard. So in this case, Bard 6, Paladin 2, and then we actually ran an Assassin 4 in this case. Definitely use the Band of Mystic Scoundrel to cast on a bonus action control spells, such as Hold Person. So again, this is like basic setup from the Bardadine, basically, where you can look up the leveling guide, how it's done. Essentially, there are a lot of videos out there that help you, but it's the base mechanic to get that, and you can either select the Helm of Arcane Acuity to build your Arcane Acuity stack to cast on 100%, or what you also could do, if you're smart, you can switch this out with the Gloves of the Battle Mage. Go maybe back to your diadem of arcane synergy and build 2 stacks. So here I'm using another mod that actually fixes these gloves. These gloves don't work in the base game. If you inflict a condition on a weapon hit, nothing is happening. There's a mod, you can download it, it will fix this item, and they function as they should be. So this is another way how to do this. If you don't use that mod with the fixed Battle Mage gloves, the only option is here to use the Helmet of Arcane Acuity, and then I guess I would recommend yet again to use the Crater Flash gloves to basically trigger in your initial round through the Assassin more damage. And then the third build we have seen, the third build was based on the Abjuration Wizard, so this is a little bit more defensive, but you saw with the blast, essentially the Eldrich Blast, you still do a lot of damage. So you would switch out a couple of these items here and build it a little bit more caster forward. So there are a couple of options what you can choose. First item that's a must though are the Daredevil gloves, because you would need to activate Daredevil proximity, because otherwise the functionality from the twisting branches are not getting called. So basically the conditional is not getting procced. That is very important. Be very close in combat. Cast light on one of your twisting branches to always activate the color glow ring. That's all free, it's a cantrip. And then just hit when people move away from you, which will happen very often. You have the Armor of Agathis up, which when they hit you, they'll take damage. You can make them wet if you want and just move away from them. That should basically double the damage. So instead of 25, you would do 50 damage. And then when it's your turn, you just use with the Daredevil proximity in close combat your Eldrich Blast 3 times, essentially do 100, 200 damage, depending on if you hit a critical or not, and you rinse and repeat. You can use a couple of other items, for example, to be a little bit more crit forward. So here with the sneak, you can get a -1. I also recommend with the version that is more forward on casting to use the dead shot to get a -1, and maybe even use Sarak's helmet. So you have about a 25% chance to crit, which is with 3 Eldritch Blasts, about 1 is critting. Recommendation. You don't have to do it, but that's what I would do, at least. Yeah, and that's really the build. Have fun with it. My ask to all of you would be, find a way to invoke vulnerabilities with force damage and with bludgeoning damage. We all know it's frozen. To get to frozen in a solo run is kind of hard. I tried it actually with a cold snap in an offhand, so that the Armor of Agathis is actually using the chilling encounter, and then try to wetten them with a bottle of water I put next to them. They freeze, and then once in a while it works, but it's really hard and really gimmicky. But if you find a way, just let me know in the comments. Other than that, have fun with the build and with this extremely cool and extremely strong mechanic. A blast from the past. Alright, well, everybody died.